has already convinced itself that you are evil and I am evil. For providing them the one thing they interact with every day.
Getting oil out of the ground is the most dangerous job in the world. We don't do it because we like it. We do it because we run out of options.
Everybody's whole family works the patch.
Roll the dice one last time.
Sticking with beer, you want something stronger?
I quit drinking, I'll stick with beer. Welcome to the oil business.
Well, Taylor, I did a cameo for Taylor in 1883. He called me up and said, look, I wrote this cameo. Once I looked at it, I knew I couldn't just cast like a local or something. I needed somebody who knows how to shoot 6 people in like 7 seconds. I said, I'll be there. And so at the after party of the premiere of 1883, he said, I'm writing a show for you. And it's called LANDMAN, and it takes you inside the real world of the oil business. And he explained the story to me. I was intrigued, and I've never seen that since Giant. I mean, some people say Dallas, but that was a soap opera. And the way he explained it to me, it sounded more like Giant, only even crazier. And I said, yes, I'll be happy to do that.
You know, Taylor has a methodology that as an actor you have to trust, and that methodology is get out of the way of the writing, trust the writing. There's not a lot of you have to put on as an actor. You do your homework, he's done a lot of it for you, you trust that, you just hit your mark and you tell the truth. And I've done that from the beginning with Taylor, and I've trusted him with that approach myself from the beginning.
Taylor was amazing. You know, he's got a pretty unique ability because he's got a tremendous amount of talent, and he also has a tremendous amount of trust in the people that he hires. So he's not trying to micromanage everything down to the iota and the grain of sand. He kind of gets everybody, hires them, writes the script, and says, go do it. And then you do, and this is what it turns up. So he's now, I don't know, 7 for 7. So he's got a pretty good batting average, and it was a great chance to get to work with him.
The first thing I did with him was his first film, Wind River, and I remember the first day I showed up on set, he came out of the woods with this cowboy hat on and this big parka, and he runs up to me and he says, hey buddy, I'm gonna run the hell out of you today. And boy, he did. So every job has been a challenge, thankfully. Every part he writes for me is, I start the show and I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but we find a way together. And again, it's by trusting what he's done and getting out of that way and relying on the honesty that's within the words.
I think that it's a real eye into the high-stakes, dangerous world of oil in West Texas. And what makes this show so special is that it comes from a podcast called Boomtown that Christian Wallace did. So you have the real, true stories about what's happening there, and then you have Taylor's writing and the way he makes these prolific characters and interweaves these incredible storylines. So those two together is a little bit magical.
I think it's the insider's look into a world that surrounds us all the time. I mean, everything in your hands is all made by petroleum, by the refinement, by the production, by the excavation of petroleum around the world. It's integral to all of our lives in every single aspect. So it'll be interesting to dissect that, I think, in a dramatic way, and for people to see, wow, we are surrounded by this world in more ways than we know.
I knew going in that we had some ringers in the deck for sure. We had Billy Bob and Demi and Taylor himself, and so I knew that we were going to go into a fairly stacked deck in that sense, and the proof is in the pudding. That what's come out of this process is a really compelling piece of television.
Because he has every human emotion. He's darkly humorous. He's impatient. He's full of love. He's mainly got the world on his shoulders because he's responsible for making the money for his boss and also for making sure that these oil fields and these pump jacks work right, protecting the employees and making sure they do the job. And then, to top it off, family stuff starts happening. So I compare it to like being the ball inside a pinball machine. He's just everywhere all the time and doesn't have a lot of peace.
Well, he's at the very top. I mean, that's really what it is. He's the guy that writes the checks, and he's the guy that funds all of these endeavors. And it's a very high stakes game, high risk, high reward. You know, and I think the most interesting part of the story is that Monty and Tommy started together at the very bottom, and through whatever twists and turns of their particular lives, their paths diverged, and Tommy ended up where he is, and Monty ended up where he is, and that's because at a certain point one of them gambled and one of them lost. And that's kind of the nature of the business, and the show is unscrupulous and unsparing, and it's look at that too.
Well, she's a firecracker. She's just, you know, she's full steam ahead at all times, an emotional tornado. She gets incredible joy out of wreaking havoc in Billy's life and Tommy's life, and she's also at the same time all heart. So, you know, you see how he writes these, you know, wild women with Beth and Yellowstone in that world, but when it comes to Angela, like, she really is coming from a good place, and she just kind of sometimes is a little misguided.
Well, it was great. You know, I like everybody on the planet, has known Demi Moore's career and followed her incredible career from being a young starlet to Brat Pack to the highest paid actress in the world, you know, and been successful in all of those iterations. And so to get a chance to work with her was a real dream come true. And at some point I looked at her on stage and I was like, you know, I think you're the first person I've ever played opposite with that I'm meant to be married to, that I've had a successful, happy marriage with. It's actually quite nice. And that is their relationship. They truly love each other, and they complete each other, and they're very complimentary toward each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they've got each other's backs, and it's a nice thing to see on screen. You don't necessarily see it in a drama. You know, the drama is where someone's cheating on somebody or messing up in some way, and they just love each other, which is nice.
Michelle is so wonderful. She plays Ainsley, Michelle Randolph, and you know, she is just fantastic in the show. She's so coquettish, and you believe how young she is, and she's really the heart of the show.
It doesn't always happen, but this cast fell in love with each other. I mean, very simply, we actually did fall in love with each other.
I mean, it's a dream. He's so talented, and he's such a generous actor. You know, he comes to set and there's no ego. It's about, you know, how do we create the best characters that we can and always keep it very authentic. And so for me as an actor, to be able to work with someone of that level of confidence and that level of skill and experience is amazing.
A lot of it mostly is in the script. It always is. Taylor does a lot of the homework and research for you. But we did have a one-week roughneck camp, analogous to what he did for the actors that played the cowboys in Yellowstone, the cowboy camp. So we worked with actual roughnecks on some rigs and saw the process of what they do, the back-breaking hard work that they do every day to pull that oil out of the ground.
I think it all surprised me. I mean, I was blown away by the real statistics. But, you know, the way that Billy and Jon Hamm deliver these unbelievable monologues about dreamers, you know, going to California and the gamblers and how they end up in the oil business, because it is about the boom or the bust and the peaks or valleys. And there's a certain personality that's drawn to that dangerous world.
Oh, the people are so welcoming there. The food is amazing, great music scene. When I first went there to work, I thought North Texas, you know, but it ended up being, it holds a special place in my heart for sure.
Welcome to the oil business.
Oil and gas industry makes $3 billion a day in pure profit. And it's only getting bigger. But before any of that money is made, you gotta secure the land, then manage the people. That's my job. First part's pretty simple. It's the second part that can get you killed.
has already convinced itself that you are evil and I am evil for providing them the one thing they interact with every day.
Getting oil out of the ground's the most dangerous job in the world. We don't do it because we like it. We do it because we run out of options.
Everybody's whole family works the patch.
Roll the dice one last time.
Sticking with beer, you want something stronger?
I quit drinking, I'll stick with beer. Welcome to the oil business.